My name's Linda, and if you told me a few years back that I'd be juggling a baby, a remote editing job, and a crumbling marriage, I'd have laughed in your face. But here I am, 33 and barely keeping my head above water. It all started when I was assigned to edit a book by Alex Chambers, a writer who was the talk of the town back then. I remember our first call. His voice, deep and a bit rough, came through the line, "Linda, Alex Chambers. Got your notes? Let's talk shop." I was professional, of course. "Sure, Alex. Chapter 3, the pacing feels off. And the character of John, he needs more depth." There was a pause, then a chuckle. "Straight to the point, huh? I like that." That was our routine. Long calls, discussing his book, characters coming alive between us. Then one day, he threw me a curveball. "Your voice, Linda, I don't know, calming. Fancy meeting over coffee? Talk about the book face to face?" I was taken aback, but curious. Sure, why not? So we met, and things clicked in a way I didn't expect. Fast forward through a whirlwind romance, and I found myself married to Alex Chambers, with a little girl, Lily, to complete the picture. Life was a dream, at first. Alex was charming, attentive. But when Lily came, and I switched to working from home, things started to shift. It started small. Alex, usually brimming with ideas, hit a dry spell. One night, as I was putting Lily to bed, I heard him cursing at his laptop. "Nothing. Not a damn word comes to mind," he shouted. I peeked into his office. "Hey, what's wrong?" He spun around, his face a mix of frustration and despair. "This book, Linda. It's like pulling teeth. I can't get the words out." Without thinking, I sat down next to him. "Let me take a look." That night, I ended up rewriting half of chapter 4. Alex read it, his eyes widening. This is good, Linda. Really good." A spark of pride flickered in me. But it was soon overshadowed by a new routine. I found myself spending nights at the desk, transforming Alex's jumbled thoughts into coherent chapters. He'd hover over my shoulder, nodding and occasionally mumbling, "Yeah, that's good." One evening, as I wrapped up a chapter, Alex leaned in and kissed my forehead. "Couldn't do this without you, babe." I smiled, but it didn't reach my eyes. I was tired, worn out from balancing my work, Lily, and now, Alex's book. I felt like I was losing myself in the process. As weeks turned into months, my role as the secret backbone of Alex's writing solidified. I was the one breathing life into his characters, crafting the twists and turns of his plots. But outside our home office, I was just Linda, Alex's wife. One day, as I was tidying up the living room, Alex walked in, phone in hand. "Hey, Linda, my publisher loved the latest chapter. They think it's some of my best work." I forced a smile. "That's great, Alex." He didn't notice the strain in my voice. "Yeah, I told them I've been working hard on it." I bit back a sharp retort. "Working hard?" It was my words, my nights spent agonizing over every sentence. As Alex's book neared completion, my resentment grew. I was the muse he never acknowledged, the ghost in his success story. I remember confronting him about it one night. "Alex, don't you think I deserve some credit? I've practically written half the book." He looked up, surprised. "What? Linda, come on. It's my name on the cover. That's how it works." I stared at him, disbelief and anger swirling inside me. "So, my work, my words, they mean nothing?" Alex sighed, running a hand through his hair. "You're helping me, Linda. That's what partners do. But it's my book, my career." I walked out of the room, my heart heavy. It was clear to me then. In Alex's story, I was just a footnote, a nameless contributor. And that hurt more than I could say. The night the book was published, I held a copy in my hands. Flipping through the pages, my words stared back at me, hiding behind Alex's name. There was no mention of me in the acknowledgements, not even a subtle hint. I confronted Alex about it, my voice trembling with suppressed emotion. You didn't even mention me. Not once. He shrugged, oblivious to my hurt. It's just how it is, Linda. I'm the writer, you're the editor. We each have our roles. That was the moment I realized how invisible I'd become in Alex's world. It was a bitter pill to swallow, a harsh truth I had to face. My life turned into a pressure cooker about to blow. Juggling work, Lily, the house, and Alex's demands had me stretched thinner than a dollar store rubber band. One typical Tuesday, I was knee-deep in laundry when Alex barged in, his face buried in his phone. Linda, where's my blue shirt? The one I wore at last week's reading? I pointed to the ironing board without looking up. It's right there, Alex. Ironed it this morning. He grabbed the shirt and mumbled a half-hearted, thanks, already distracted by another text. I shook my head, feeling like part of the furniture. That night, after putting Lily to bed, I sat down to edit a manuscript for work. My eyes were heavy, my brain fried. Alex strolled in, a sheaf of papers in his hand. Hey, can you look at these? I need your magic touch. I glanced at the clock. It was already past 10. Alex, it's late, and I've got a pile of editing for work. He frowned, his voice rising. But this is important, Linda. My publisher's waiting. I sighed, taking the papers. Fine, but this is the last time, Alex. I can't keep doing this. He scoffed. What's the big deal? You're just sitting at home all day. I snapped. Just sitting at home? Really, Alex? Between Lily, the house, and your never-ending book needs, I barely have time to breathe. Alex rolled his eyes. Dramatic much? I'm the one with the real job here. That stung. Real job? I'm an editor, Alex, not your personal assistant. He shrugged, clearly not getting it. Whatever, just do what you can. I worked on his manuscript, resentment boiling inside me. Each word I edited felt like a betrayal to my own work. The next day, as I was fixing lunch, Alex waltzed in, phone in hand again. Linda, I need you to draft some emails to my publisher. And book my flight to New York next week. I slammed the knife down on the counter. Do it yourself, Alex. I'm not your secretary. He looked taken aback. What's gotten into you? I exploded. I'm tired, Alex. Tired of being your invisible helper, tired of putting my life on hold. He tried to interrupt, but I plowed on. No, let me finish. I'm also a person, with dreams and a career. But you just take and never give a damn. Alex's face hardened. Fine, do what you want. I don't need your help. I watched him storm out, feeling a mix of relief and dread. But as I stood in the silent kitchen, I couldn't shake the feeling that things were about to get a lot harder. The day I uncovered Alex's infidelity felt like any other, until I stumbled upon something that turned my world upside down. I was sorting through our joint bank statements when I noticed a peculiar charge. Alex had booked a hotel room, supposedly for a fan meetup. But it wasn't a single room like usual, this time, it was a double. My heart pounded as I stared at the screen. A double room? Why would he need that? The question echoed in my mind, but deep down, I feared I already knew the answer. I decided to confront him when he got back. He walked through the door that evening, looking weary but satisfied. Hey, Linda, back from the event. It was great, he said, trying to kiss me. I dodged his kiss and held up the bank statement. Why'd you book a double room, Alex? He glanced at the statement, his face momentarily blank. Oh, that? Must be a mistake. I booked a single, like always. I wanted to believe him, but the doubt had already seated itself. A mistake, huh? Okay. Later that night, after Alex came home drunk, he crashed into bed, leaving his phone carelessly on the nightstand. A voice inside me whispered to check it. I hesitated, but curiosity and suspicion won. Picking up his phone, I felt like a detective in a bad movie, but what I found was no fiction. His messages were a maze of lies and deceit. There it was, a string of texts with someone named Julia. They weren't just friendly, they were intimate, full of plans and secrets. I scrolled through their conversations, each message a stab to my heart. Alex's words about me were the worst, calling me a fool, saying he only kept me around as a servant. Tears blurred my vision, but I kept going, screenshotting everything. Then I found the photos, Alex and Julia, together in ways that left no room for doubt. It was like watching a car crash in slow motion, horrifying, but impossible to look away. I transferred all the evidence to my laptop, a heavy knot forming in my stomach. This was more than a hunch now, it was cold, hard proof of his betrayal. The next day, I acted like everything was normal. Alex, clueless and hungover, didn't suspect a thing. "Morning, Linda. What's for breakfast?" he asked, rubbing his eyes. "Just cereal," I replied, my voice steady despite the storm inside. As he sat eating, oblivious, I studied him. This was the man I married, the father of my child, living a double life right under my nose. Anger and hurt welled up inside me, but I pushed them down. I needed to be smart, to plan my next move carefully. That day, as I went about my chores and work, part of me was elsewhere, plotting, planning. Alex's betrayal had shattered something fundamental between us. But I wasn't going to let him see me break. Not yet. I had to be strategic, to hit him where it hurt most. And for that, I needed to keep my discovery a secret, for now. It was a regular evening, Alex was lounging in his chair, absorbed in his laptop. Lily had just fallen asleep, and the house was quiet. The perfect setting for a confrontation. I approached him hesitantly. "Alex, can we talk? It's important." He barely glanced up. "Sure, what's up?" I took a deep breath, my phone recording in my pocket. "I'm burned out, Alex. Writing your books, managing the house, taking care of Lily. I can't do it anymore." His fingers stopped typing. He looked up, his eyes narrowing. "What do you mean you can't do it? You know how important this is to me." I persisted, my voice steady despite the churning in my stomach. "It's too much. I have my own work, and Lily needs more of my time. I can't write your books for you anymore." Alex's face reddened. "You can't just quit, Linda. My career depends on those books. You're supposed to support me, not bail out." I tried to sound as reasonable as possible. "Support goes both ways, Alex. I need your understanding now." He scoffed. "Understanding? I've given you a comfortable life, a home, and this is how you repay me? By backing out when I need you the most." His words stung, but I needed him to admit the full extent of my role. "I've been doing more than backing you up, Alex. I've been writing your books, and it's taking a toll on me." He stood up abruptly, his chair scraping against the floor. "You're just the editor, Linda. Let's not overstate your role here." I felt my patience waning. "Just the editor? Alex, who do you think has been coming up with the plots, the dialogues, refining the characters? It's been me." His voice rose in anger. "So what? My name is on those books. Without me, they'd be nothing. You're nothing without me." I edged closer, ensuring my phone caught every word. "Are you saying you'd be nothing without my writing?" He laughed, a harsh, mocking sound. "Of course not. I'm the author, but you quitting now is like a betrayal. You can't leave me hanging. If you stop writing for me, I'll make sure you regret it." I asked, baiting him further. "Is that a threat, Alex?" He leaned in, his face inches from mine. "Yes, it's a threat. You're my wife, Linda. You do what's needed for this family, for my career. If you think you can just walk away from this, think again. I'll divorce you and make sure you get nothing." I stepped back, my heart pounding. I had what I needed. "Okay, Alex. We'll see about that." He stormed off to his office, slamming the door behind him. Alone, I took out my phone and ended the recording. Listening back, his words were damning, an unequivocal admission of his dependence on me, mixed with threats and arrogance. That night, as I lay in bed, I couldn't sleep. The man I once loved had turned into a stranger, one who saw me as nothing more than a tool for his success. But now, with this recording, the tables were turned. I had the power to expose him, to tear down the facade he'd so carefully built. My mind raced with possibilities. I could take this to his publisher, the media, or use it in a legal battle. Whatever path I chose, one thing was clear: our marriage was over, and it was time for Alex to face the consequences of his actions. The day of Alex's big press conference was my chosen moment for revelation. Clutching the recording of his admission, my plan was set in motion. Alex was oblivious, caught up in his usual pre-event frenzy. "Linda, make sure the presentation is spot on. This is huge for me," he stressed, pacing around the living room. I nodded, hiding my nerves behind a calm facade. "I've got it under control, Alex." Little did he know, the presentation I had prepared was a far cry from his expectations. I had embedded not just the transcript of our conversation, but also the audio recording, ready to expose his duplicity to the world. The conference day arrived. I was a bundle of nerves and determination, watching as Alex took the stage with his usual flair. "Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining me. Today, I'll give you an insight into my creative process." As the first slide flashed up, Alex's confident smile wavered. The room fell into a stunned silence as his own words appeared on the screen, followed by his voice echoing through the speakers, confessing his reliance on me for his books. The shock in the room was palpable. Alex fumbled for words. There seems to be some mistake." But the damage was done. The crowd was in an uproar, murmurs and gasps filling the air, while cameras clicked frantically, capturing every moment of his unraveling facade. The aftermath of the press conference was like a hurricane tearing through our lives. Alex, once the master of his domain, was now caught in the eye of the storm he had created. His fury when he returned home was palpable, a tempest of anger and disbelief. "You've completely destroyed me, Linda. My career, my reputation. How could you?" he raged, his voice echoing through the halls of our once peaceful home. I faced him, my resolve unwavering. "I'm filing for divorce, Alex. I can't be part of this lie anymore." His anger turned to desperation. "Divorce? You can't be serious. Think about Lily, think about what you're doing to our family." I sighed, a weight lifting off my shoulders. "It's over, Alex. I know about Julia too. The lies, the betrayal. It's all out now." He sank into a chair, his energy deflated. "Linda, I didn't mean for any of this." I shook my head. "It doesn't matter what you meant. It's what you did. And now, everyone knows." As his career began to crumble, with publishers distancing themselves and fans expressing their outrage, I took the opportunity to reclaim my voice. I decided to continue the book series under my own name, my work finally receiving the recognition it deserved. In the midst of this, a surprising twist came my way. Alex's mistress, a woman with considerable influence in the media, approached me discreetly. She was desperate to keep her name out of the scandal and offered a substantial sum to ensure her anonymity in court. After much contemplation, I agreed to her terms. This wasn't just about retribution, it was about securing a stable future for Lily and me. The money meant freedom and a fresh start. The day of the divorce hearing arrived, and Alex's demeanor had shifted from anger to a plea for reconciliation. "Linda, we can sort this out. We can go to counseling, start over. Please, don't do this." I looked at him, seeing the man I once loved, now a stranger consumed by his own deceit. "It's too late, Alex. I can't erase what you've done, the lies you've told. It's over." In the courtroom, the air was tense. Alex's lawyer tried to argue for leniency, but the evidence against him was undeniable. The judge ruled in my favor, granting me a significant compensation and full custody of Lily. Alex was ordered to pay child support, a final blow to his already faltering financial state. Returning home, I watched Lily playing in the living room, her laughter a balm to my soul. I knew the road ahead would be challenging, but for the first time in a long time, I felt hopeful. That night, as I tucked Lily into bed, her gentle breathing was a reminder of the new beginning that lay ahead of us. "Mommy, will everything be okay?" she murmured sleepily. I kissed her forehead, whispering, "Yes, my love. Everything will be just fine. We have each other, and that's all we need." In the quiet of the night, I reflected on the tumultuous journey. The pain and betrayal had been overwhelming, but they had led me to a newfound strength and independence. It was the end of a painful chapter, but the start of something new, a future where I was the author of my own story, free to write the next chapters as I saw fit. In the wake of our divorce, life settled into a new rhythm. I focused on raising Lily and my burgeoning writing career, now rightfully acknowledged under my name. Alex's presence in our lives dwindled, his visits with Lily becoming infrequent and strained. One afternoon, while Lily was at school, I sat at my desk, working on my latest book. The phone rang, breaking the silence. It was Alex, his voice barely a whisper. "Linda, I've messed up," he said, a tremor in his voice. "What happened, Alex?" I asked, my tone guarded. He sighed heavily. "I published a book about my affair. I was desperate, Linda. I thought it might save my career. But I named Julia in it." I was stunned. "You named her? After everything?" He was quiet for a moment. "Yeah, and now she's suing me. She won the case. I have to pay her $1 million, Linda. I'm ruined." I shook my head, disbelief and a twinge of pity mingling inside me. "Alex, why would you do that? You knew the consequences." "I don't know, Linda. I don't know what I thought." I ended the call, feeling a mix of emotions. It was a stark reminder of how far Alex had fallen, a victim of his own hubris and poor choices. Weeks passed, and the news of Alex's latest fiasco spread. His already tarnished reputation took another hit. Meanwhile, my own career flourished. My books, once hidden behind Alex's name, were now celebrated for their authentic voice and compelling storytelling. One day, as I picked Lily up from school, her teacher, Ms. Adams, approached me. "Linda, I just wanted to say, I've been reading your books. They're incredible. You're so talented." I smiled, a sense of pride swelling in my chest. "Thank you, Ms. Adams. That means a lot." As Lily and I walked home, hand in hand, she looked up at me with her bright, curious eyes. "Mommy, are you happy now?" I squeezed her hand gently. "Yes, Lily, I am. Very happy." It was true. Despite the tumultuous journey, I had found my voice, my independence. I was no longer overshadowed by Alex's deceit. That evening, as I tucked Lily into bed, her soft voice broke the silence. "Mommy, will Daddy be okay?" I paused, choosing my words carefully. "Daddy made some mistakes, sweetheart. But he'll learn from them, hopefully." She nodded, her eyes slowly closing. "I love you, Mommy." "I love you too, Lily. More than anything." As I turned off the light, I realized that this was not just the end of a painful chapter, but the beginning of a new one. A chapter filled with hope, strength, and the unwavering love between a mother and her daughter. In the quiet of the night, I reflected on the journey. Karma had played its hand, and in its wake, left a path for new beginnings. I had emerged stronger, wiser, and more determined. My story, once hidden behind the shadow of another, was now mine to write, and I embraced it with open arms.